This is the digital channel of the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. I am Manoj Mainkar, and in the next half hour, I'll bring to you news updates from India and around the world, awareness videos on coronavirus by Government of India, yoga on radio, and a lot more. We'll begin with the news updates.
This is the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. The news read by Maria Albina Michael. A Bolivian Air Force plane flying a humanitarian mission crashed minutes after takeoff in the Amazonian region, killing all 6 occupants, including 4 Spaniards, who were being ferried to catch a flight to their homeland, the Defense Ministry has said. The Beechcraft Baron, a twin-engine propeller plane, went down in a marshy area on the outskirts of Trinidad, a city in the northeast of the country, the announcement said on Saturday. In Kazakhstan, Dariga Nazarbayev has been dismissed from her post as Speaker of the country's Senate. She was removed yesterday by an order from President Kassym Jomart Tokayev, also losing her seat in the Senate. No reason was stated for the dismissal. Ms. Nazarbayev is the daughter of former President Nursultan Nazarbayev. She became Senate Speaker in March 2019 on the same day that her father unexpectedly resigned. The High Commission of India in Dhaka has started the process of registering Indians who wish to return back to India from Bangladesh. In a notice on the official website of the High Commission, the Indian community members in Bangladesh have been told that only those people will be considered for return to India who register on the official link provided as and when airports in India open. It also clarified that travel to India will be on payment basis. The notice said that when people are allowed to return to India, they may have to undergo home or institutional quarantine. It asked the Indian community in Dhaka to register at the earliest. Islamic State militants killed at least 10 Iraqi militiamen in a coordinated assault overnight near the central city of Samarra, security officials said on Saturday, adding to concerns the extremist group that once controlled large areas of the country is staging a comeback. The military and the Popular Mobilization Forces, an umbrella group of mostly Shiite militias allied with the government, confirmed the attack in separate statements. It was the deadliest of a series of attacks in recent weeks that come as authorities are grappling with a worsening economic crisis and trying to contain a coronavirus outbreak. As neighbors with deep-rooted historical and cultural links, India and Thailand will work together to deal with the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on Saturday. Modi said he spoke with good friend Thailand Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha and discussed issues related to the pandemic. All domestic and international flight services will remain suspended in the country till the midnight of 17th May. Office of the Director General of Civil Aviation DGCA in an official release today stated that the decision has been taken as a measure to contain the corona pandemic. It further stated that both foreign and domestic airlines will be informed about opening of operations in due course. The restriction is not applicable on international all-cargo operations and other special flight operations approved by DGCA. Bangladesh plans to extend the nationwide shutdown until 15th May as the novel coronavirus claimed 5 more lives in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of COVID-19 fatalities in the country to 175. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina earlier ordered a comprehensive anti-COVID-19 campaign amid steady rise of coronavirus cases in the country. The government initially declared a general holiday on 26th March for 10 days. Later, that was gradually extended till 25th April as the country kept seeing a rise in the number of cases and deaths from COVID-19. Bangladesh later extended the nationwide shutdown till 5th May. Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting Prakash Javadekar said that in the third phase of the lockdown, practically half of the country will become fully operational from 4th May. Mr. Javadekar said the lockdown has brought us success and the country has fared much better than other countries in its response to contain the corona pandemic. Mr. Javadekar said opposition is only indulging in blame game and have no agenda or issues to discuss. He said they are blaming the government on the points on which they showed agreement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting on Saturday to deliberate on the issues and reforms required in agriculture sector. Special emphasis was given on reforms in agriculture marketing, management of marketable surplus, access of farmers to institutional credit, and freeing agriculture sector of various restrictions. The Prime Minister laid special emphasis on technological intervention in the agriculture sector in order to unlock the entire value chain benefiting the farmers in the country. It was also decided to further strengthen the role of farmer-producer organizations, FPOs, to bring vibrancy in the agrarian economy, transparency in agriculture trade, and enable maximum benefits to the farmers. The Prime Minister also made a call to boost Brand India and stated that in order to increase agriculture commodity export in the country, commodity-specific boards and councils needs to be set up. The number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 has now gone up to 37,776 in the country. Out of the total cases, 10,017 patients have recovered and were discharged from the hospitals, while 1,223 patients have died. The recovery rate in the country from COVID-19 is 26.65%. Ministry of Health in a statement said that the central government is taking several steps along with the states and union territories for prevention, containment and management of COVID-19 through a graded, preemptive and proactive approach. It said these are being regularly reviewed and monitored at the highest level. And that is the end of this news bulletin.
Radio is an intimate storytelling medium, and when it bonds with one of the finest storytellers of our times, the result is sheer magic. During these times of social distancing, All India Radio hopes to bring you some comfort, some connection with an exclusive story reading series, Bonding over the Radio. Coming up is the pick of the day, voiced by the author Ruskin Bond himself.
I've got a story which is not a ghost story, but it's like a bit of fantasy, you know. Actually, it was done as a short 20-minute film a couple of years back. It's called The Black Cat. It's about me, actually. The Black Cat. Before the cat came, of course, there had to be a broomstick. In the bazaar of one of our hill stations is an old junk shop, dirty, dingy and dark, in which I often potter about looking for old books or Victorian bric-a-brac. Sometimes one comes across useful household items, but I don't usually notice these. I was, however, attracted by an old but well-preserved broom standing in a corner of the shop. A long-handled broom was just what I needed. I had no servant to sweep out the rooms of my cottage, and I did not enjoy bending over double when using the common short-handed jaru. The old broom was priced at 10 rupees. I haggled with the shopkeeper and got it for 5. It was a strong broom, full of character, and I used it to good effect almost every morning. And there this story might have ended, or would never have begun, if I had not found the large black cat sitting on the garden wall. The black cat had bright yellow eyes, and it gave me a long, penetrating look, as though it was summing up my possibilities as an exploitable human. Though it meowed once or twice, I paid no attention. I did not care much for cats. But when I went indoors, I found that the cat had followed and had begun scratching at the pantry door. It must be hungry, I thought, and I gave it some milk. The cat lapped up the milk, purring deeply all the while, then sprang up on a cupboard and made itself comfortable. Well, for several days there was no getting rid of that cat. It seemed completely at home and merely tolerated my presence in the house. It was more interested in my broom than in me, and would dance and skittle around the broom whenever I was sweeping the rooms. And when the broom was resting against the wall, the cat would sidle up to it, rubbing itself against the handle and purring loudly. A cat and a broomstick. The combination was suggestive, full of possibilities. The cottage was old, almost 100 years old, and I wondered about the kind of tenants it might have had during these long years. I had only been in it for a year, and though it stood alone in the midst of a forest of Himalayan oaks, I had never encountered any ghosts or spirits. Miss Bellows came to see me in the middle of July. I heard the tapping of a walking stick on the rocky path outside the cottage, a tapping which stopped near the gate. "Mr. Bond," called an imperious voice, "are you at home?" I had been doing some gardening and looked up to find an elderly, straight-backed Englishwoman peering at me over the gate. Good evening," I said, dropping my hoe. "I believe you have my cat," said Miss Bellows. Though I had not met the lady before, I knew her by name and reputation. She was the oldest resident in the hill station. "I do have a cat," I said, "though it's probably more correct to say that the cat has me. If it's yours, you're welcome to it. Why don't you come in while I look for her?" Miss Bellows stepped in. She wore a rather old-fashioned black dress, and her ancient but strong walnut stick had 2 or 3 curves in it and a knob instead of a handle. She made herself comfortable in an armchair while I went in search of the cat. But the cat was on one of her mysterious absences, and though I called for her in my most persuasive manner, she did not respond. I knew she was probably quite near, but cats are like that, perverse, obstinate creatures. When finally I returned to the sitting room, there was the cat, curled up on Miss Bellows' lap. "Well, you've got her, I see. Would you like to have some tea before you go?" "No, thank you," said Miss Bellows. "I don't drink tea." Something stronger, perhaps? A little brandy?" She looked up at me rather sharply, and disconcerted, I hastened to add, "Not that I drink much, you know. I keep a little in the house for emergencies. It helps ward off colds and things. It's particularly good for colds," I finished lamely. "I see your kettle's boiling," she said. "Can I have some hot water?" "Hot water? Certainly." I was a little puzzled, but I did not want to antagonize Miss Bellows at our first meeting. "Thank you, and a glass." She took the glass, and I went to get the kettle. From the pocket of her voluminous dress, she extracted 2 small packets, similar to those containing chemist's powders. Opening both packets, she poured first a purple powder and then a crimson powder into the glass. Nothing happened. "Now the water, please," she said. "It's boiling hot." "Never mind." I poured boiling water into her glass, and there was a terrific fizzing and bubbling as the frothy stuff rose to the rim. It gave off a horrible stench. The potion was so hot that I thought it would crack the glass. But before this could happen, Miss Bellows put it to her lips and strained the contents. "I think I'll be going now," she said, putting the glass down and smacking her lips. The cat, tail in the air, voiced its agreement. Said Miss Bellows, "I'm much obliged to you, young man." "Don't mention it," I said humbly. "Always at your service." She gave me her thin, bony hand and held mine in an icy grip. I saw Miss Bellows and the black cat to the gate and returned pensively to my sitting room. Living alone was beginning to tell on my nerves and imagination. I made a half-hearted attempt to laugh at my fancies, but the laugh stuck in my throat. I couldn't help noticing that my broom, was missing from its corner. I dashed out of the cottage and looked up and down the path. There was no one to be seen. In the gathering darkness, I could hear Miss Bellows' laughter, followed by a snatch of song. With the darkness round me growing, and the moon behind my hat, you will soon have trouble knowing which is which and which is cat. Word over it. I looked up and saw them silhouetted against the rising moon. Miss Bellows and her cat were riding away.
Was, "Wow, Ruskin Bond meets people for free?" Such was my enthusiasm. I am 18 now and pursuing my career in literature, and my dream hasn't yet come true. It will be a great favor if you can please ask him when will he be available to meet and take an autograph. After this whole pandemic situation gets over, I'd go to Mussoorie as soon as I can.
Yes. So of course you can meet me, and of course it will be free. I enjoy meeting young people and school children, and so many of you I know want to become writers. But if you want to meet me, you have to give me some advance warning. I may not be here because I do go out sometimes. So you write to me and get in touch, and let me know when you're going to be here, so then we can fix up a meeting.
That was storyteller par excellence, Ruskin Bond, reading his hand-picked story of the day in our exclusive series, Bonding over the Radio. Dear listeners, hope you're enjoying listening to these stories as much as we are in bringing them to you. We look forward to your comments on our official Facebook page, Akashvani Features. I repeat, Akashvani Features. You could even leave a question for Ruskin Bond, and we promise to pass them on to him. Do mention a few details about yourself when you write. Ruskin Bond needs no introduction. Much loved by generations for his enduring and inspiring writing, he is an iconic and prolific literateur, honoured with the Padma Bhushan and Sahitya Akademi Awards. Some of his works that have been adapted for film and television series include Junoon, Susanna's 7 Husbands, Saat Khoon Maaf, The Blue Umbrella, and Ek Tha Rusty. A presentation of the Central English Features Unit. This came to you from the External Services Division of All India Radio. During lockdown in India, many citizens are voluntarily participating in creating awareness and helping the less privileged.
A warm hello to all the listeners of AIR EST. I'm Mrs. Mona Singh from New Delhi, India. I'm an educationist and communication skills trainer. I'm also a proud Army daughter and wife. Dear friends, today I connect with you on a common platform, the ongoing crisis created by coronavirus. It is a stressful time indeed for most of us. but adversity brings out the best in us. Let us use this God given time to connect with ourselves and with Mother Nature. Let me begin with a few simple tips and guidelines on how to do this. Eat immunity boosting foods like garlic, onion, turmeric, red capsicum, and drink coconut water too. Focus on holistic wellness. Do pranayam every morning or evening. Take proper rest and maintain hygiene. Practice gratitude and love. Just as sanitizers and masks work as shields on the outside, healthy thoughts and gratitude are our inner shields. Thank God for being safe, strong, and healthy. Practice eating healthy. Eat home cooked food. Eat a variety of fruits on a daily basis to build immunity. Drink at least 2 liters of water every day. Avoid junk foods, maida, non-veg, deep fried and packaged food as much as possible. Include seeds in your daily diet. Play family games like Ludo and Monopoly to bond with each other. To keep the mind sharp, solve puzzles, crosswords, and Sudoku. Water the plants, walk, or pick up a simple hobby to enrich yourself. And last but not the least, meditate. Keep in touch with your inner self. A healthy body and mind will help you combat the stress. You will be able to overcome fear, anxiety, and depression, and instead start living with more awareness, gratitude, and positivity. Stay safe and stay healthy, dear listeners. Be a COVID warrior, not a worrier.
Namaste. Greetings to listeners of the General Overseas Services of ESD, All India Radio. I am Dr. Jasmeet Kaur. I am working as Assistant Professor in University of Delhi. And my area of specialization is psychology, in particular child psychology. In this time of COVID-19, I would like to talk to you about building immunity through emotional strength. How we can do this sitting at home? Yes, it's very much possible. Just imagine a situation when there has been a cyclone or it has been a storm. Now, you always see that there are 2 types of trees, rather 3 types of trees. One type of tree, those who get uprooted. Then there are other types of trees who stand upright. And there is a 3rd type of trees which they move with the direction of the wind but yet do not fall. In this COVID times, we have to be like the 3rd type of tree, that is the flexible tree. With time, with this situation, we all have to be very, very flexible. How can we be flexible? Yes, we can be flexible, yet this tough time will pass. Now, sometimes situations arise in our lives regularly and even suddenly sometimes. At those times, we are not prepared for them. And even the best of people are generally very positive, can become disturbed. Feelings of helplessness when faced with difficult situations are something that many people in the world experience. It's as if life comes to a standstill and you don't know where to look for help and whom to call out. Usually, when we tend to pay a lot of attention to a negative situation, all the positivity remains hidden and also the negativity is highlighted. When some of us are caught in negative atmosphere, the attitude, words, actions too are colored with negativity. This further aggravates the negative ambience of the situation. So, Life can be demanding at times when we are not prepared for situations and are not mentally strong enough to face them, like the present COVID times. This makes it difficult for us to adjust to the sudden changes in our life, for we normally select status quo as comfort zone. The best thing to face any crisis is to remain calm, cool, and solution oriented with cultivation of positive mindset and optimistic outlook. This is the key to develop inner space in which experience and expression of virtues like courage, contentment, harmony, and happiness flow freely. There was a poll which was done for youngsters, and they were feeling very stressed, worried, depressed, bored, and worked out at this time. And they also said, we are missing our friends, missing meeting the favorite people, we are missing face to face interaction, socializing, and we are very unhappy, etc. etc. But if we look at this situation in another way, we are all very fearful, yet we want to get over this situation. How is this going to be possible? This is only possible if we turn the lens. Yes, if we turn the lens from me to we. Me to we means we don't think of just ourselves, we think about the other people also. The people who are not having a house, who don't have meals to eat, we think about them also. We do some little donations, not only donations in the form of money, but also giving our time. Time talking to a friend who's really feeling very depressed, talking to a relative, and also using my resources and opportunities for myself. Sometimes you want to develop a hobby which you did not get time for, and also this is the time for that. You have to be really good problem solvers. And yes, in this time, suppose you're unable to go to the gym and you want to build up your immunity. Why not do some exercises at home? If you want to do some weights, just pick up 2-liter bottle full of water, or just simply pick up the bricks and do your weight training. These are some of the tricks which we need to look at. It's a time for a reality check for all of us. Soul consciousness in meditation is the foundation technique for connecting yourself internally using the power of visualization to the sweet personality of the Supreme Soul and absorbing his virtues. And these are the times when we actually need to relook at ourselves, realign ourselves, and reboot ourselves, and then having the feeling of gratitude. If we have all these things, then surely our emotional strength will build up the immunity to fight against this problem.
This broadcast came to you from the digital channel of the General Overseas Service of All India Radio.